Welcome back to the Eldest Daughters Revolution. Today, I want to talk about something that happens almost every single time I work one on one with an eldest daughter or a caregiver. But before I even get to that part, to the clarity that I help them come to, before we even talk about what matters to them, there's a step that has to come first. And it's a step that most eldest daughters, caregivers often try to skip, and that is the step of restoration, restoring your mind, your body, and your soul. Because here's what I know after years of doing this work, right? You cannot access clarity from exhaustion. You just can't. You cannot make aligned decisions while living in survival mode, and you cannot feel your worth when your energetic system is out of balance. So, before we get into untangling identity, before we ask, what do you want? Before we look at your vision or fulfillment, live what it means to live a fulfilling, meaningful life, we restore your energy. We slow down, we connect to your body, we soothe your energetic system, we restore your energetic system, and we create space. Okay? Because eldest daughters and caregivers, we're often living from the neck up, right? Disconnected from our bodies. We're strategizing, anticipating, managing, holding, but your body, your deeper divine self, she's been waiting for you to reconnect with her. And when you do, when you reconnect with her, when you breathe, when you soften your belly, when you feel your feet planted firmly on the ground, when you reconnect to your energy, when you restore your energy, your system begins to relax, right? Your energy starts coming back online. When you remember that you are more than the role that you've been playing, you remember that you are more than the role that you've been playing. And this isn't just fluff, right? This is physiological and spiritual, right? Your nervous system has learned that over giving, overextending yourself equals safety. So when we begin restoring your energy through breath, through movement, grounding, embodied awareness, energetic practices that I support eldest daughters and caregivers with, we're teaching your system that safety can also exist in stillness, right? In receiving, in being, right? Which is important for clarity. That restoration is not indulgent, right? It's foundational. This is a foundational principle, right? And once your body feels safer, right? Once your energy feels more balanced, once you have been resourced, if you will, then we move into clarity, right? Then we ask what actually matters to you, right? What's important to you? Not what you've been responsible for, not what keeps everything running smoothly and keeps the peace, if you will, right? Not what even earns validation or approval, but what actually brings you joy, what brings you meaning, what brings you fulfillment. And here's what happens almost every time, almost every time. Once a woman, once an eldest daughter, once a caregiver begins to reconnect with her body, once she starts feeling more spaciousness inside, once she dares to name what she wants, this quiet question arises. Am I doing enough? Now, at first, this question sounds responsible, right? It sounds mature, right? But underneath it is something much more vulnerable. Am I enough if I'm not over giving? Because when your worth has been tied to performing, providing, holding it all together, turning your energy toward yourself, restoring your energy feels unfamiliar, right? It feels unfamiliar to reconnect with your divine self, your deeper self, because we're so busy externalizing and giving, right? So, what can this look like? It can look like leaving work on time, right? Giving energy back to yourself, saying no without excessive explaining, right? Investing in something that nourishes you. I've been buying video games lately. It's quite nostalgic for me, right? But as you're doing these things, your mind whispers, is this enough, right? Should I be doing more? Is it okay for me to play Animal Crossing, right? Am I still valuable, right? And the thing is, it's normal for that question to come up. Of course, that question comes up. Your nervous system, you trained your nervous system to equate usefulness with safety. Our nervous system has been trained that way. Okay, being needed kept you connected, being strong kept you receiving praise, being capable felt secure, kept you secure. So when you begin loosening your grip on that identity, your system naturally reacts to that change, right? But here's the difference now, okay? When you're restored, you're not depleted anymore. You're resourced, right? Because you've restored your energy, because you've connected with your body, you can feel your breath, right? Because of that, instead of spiraling into proving or falling into familiar patterns of overgiving and overextending yourself, you notice the thought for what it is, right? You let it be there without trying to fight against it, and you keep moving toward your vision, what matters to you anyway, even if the thought is there. That is embodiment. That is embodiment. See, worthiness is not something you prove by your actions, right, toward others. It is something you practice living from, right? And that practice, the practice of embodiment, that requires energy. That's why restoration comes first. Because when your energy is restored, you don't have to make decisions from panic, right? You make decisions from alignment. You don't cling to an identity that's no longer serving you. You expand beyond it. You begin to realize, I don't have to overextend to be enough, right? I don't have to exhaust myself to be worthy. I don't have to carry everything to be deserving of love. Now, let's be real, there may still be a wobble, right? Because identity shifts are vulnerable. They change our system, right? Our energetic system, right? The strong one role kept you safe for a long time, kept me safe for a long time. But now you're building something much deeper. A life that actually is aligned with your values, a life where your worth is not attached to your output or performance, a life where joy doesn't have to be earned through your depletion. So for this week, if you notice, right, the question, am I doing enough? If that question comes up for you, I want you to pause. Take a deep breath. Feel your body. And instead of answering it, ask, what matters to me right now? And choose one small action aligned with that. That's how you come back to yourself. That's how you reclaim yourself. Not by proving, not by performing, but by restoring, reconnecting, and living from your enoughness. All right? You're not only valuable because of what you do, right? You are valuable because you exist. Let that settle in. Let that be enough, right? if this talk resonated with you, I'm going to leave a link in the comments to something I'd love to share with you, right? Something to support you along your journey of restoration, right? So that you can focus on what matters to you. Until we meet again, you be well, my sister. Peace.